The following video was recorded on location in my state-of-the-art office in the corner of my first floor apartment. If you like what you're about to hear, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell in the upper right corner. Hi, how's it going?
Hey, I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview.
That's okay. That's my pleasure. I hope that everything will be fine since, I am Italian. English sometimes is not so perfect.
Oh, that is quite all right. I'm sure we'll find a way to make it work, but
Nice.
Yes. And I've been very excited to be able to do this interview. Being a longtime fan of the band, it's an absolute honor to be able to help promote the brand new album from Secret Sphere, The Nature of Time, coming out next Friday through Frontiers Music.
Wow, nice. So you know the band since many years?
Oh, yes.
Cool.
Of course, with the evolution of the band, I noticed that this album seems a lot more in positivity. Was that something that you guys were going for? I mean, it feels like that musically and lyrically.
Yes, you are definitely right. The new album is 100% positive. In the past, the music of Secret Sphere, if you know the band, has had always a little bit of melancholy or sadly lyrics. For example, the previous album, Portrait of a Dying Heart, the first one with Michele Lupi, the concept behind that album was really a little bit melancholic with a little bit of sadness in between. That's because we explored that kind of nature of the human a little bit more inner and more gothic, if we want to use that word. And concerning the music, we developed that kind of power metal, but a little bit more influenced by the gothic orchestration, for example. For the new album, actually, when you start to listen the first songs, apparently we are still with the feet in that kind of mood, because the intro of the album, the first song, The Calling, they are definitely not happy. But when you keep on listening to the whole album, songs by songs, you discover that the message that we spread is very, very positive. That's because I think that we changed something in our life, actually. And of course, this is reflected in our music.
Well, I'm glad to see that too. I mean, it seems like in a lot of music today, there seems to be a lot of the melancholic or negativity when it comes to the lyrical aspect, or just focusing more on the melodramatic tones. But when I keep listening to the album, it's like I'm hearing all these bright and very beautiful melodies and harmonies that aren't always explored anymore. I mean, songs like Kindness, for example, which I think is an amazing ballad. Just like hearing that, but more in a positive aspect with a ballad. It's really nice to hear that these days.
Yes, well, I think that when we talk about metal music, I think that most of the people prefer to wear that kind of how can I say, that kind of black mask, where we need to be a little bit dark. We need to be a little bit dramatic, because I think that it's like that people had a little bit of fear to express beautiful feelings instead of sadness. I think that even in our life, it's more easy to complain than to say beautiful things in life, and that's something that we learn during the 5 years that we spent in between the previous album and The Nature of Time. We learned that people need the world need that people spread positive message. That can be apparently this can be a little bit kitsch, a little bit cheesy, but I think that it's really, really important that all the people start to spread and to talk more positive. You say kindness as a song, and actually it's my favorite song of the whole album, and it's really, really a positive song. And the meaning behind kindness is it's the what I said few seconds ago, that sometimes it's really more easy to solve any discussion with people or any problem just using the kindness. Well, if you think it's something really stupid, because everyone can think about it, but the problem is that it's very difficult to say something beautiful to the other people. People is not. It's not easy for people to have this manifestation of love or passion. It's more easy to complain. That's of course it's my opinion.
Yeah, that is a very excellent point that you bring up. It seems to be easier to talk more about negativity than positivity, and that's why I respect what you guys are going for on this album, because that message of positivity, especially in this day and age, really needs to be spread more, whether it's through music or other aspects of life. Just getting that positive message out there and realize that we are humans and we are just other people.
Yes. It's only a matter of attitude. I think it's only depend of this, because I love many bands that apparently are talking about sadness, but probably to stay in that mood would attract more people, because we are every day we are full of negative messages, even from the television. The media keep on spread all the hate that runs through the world, and so it's very difficult to keep that really positive view, that balance in our minds. But I think that if we will be more concentrated on the smallest things that life can give to us, that will help a lot, I think, to all the human beings.
And I think even from a musical standpoint, I mean, even with power metal, once people are able to check out the new album from you guys next Friday Through Frontiers, I mean, when they start paying attention to the lyrics, it might inspire other bands and other musicians to, instead of always looking at the melancholy, to start looking at the positivity of life.
You mean our music?
Yes.
I hope that will be kept as an example, or that someone will keep this new album as an example. There are many power metal bands that has a real positive mind, but I think that our way is a little bit different, because we are talking about real life. We are not talking about stories or something coming from fantasy. These are real messages that happen every day in every people's life.
Yes, I was going to mention that as well. I mean, there are a lot of different bands and styles of music out there that are very overly happy, and sometimes with bad expectations from people, where say in pop music, where everything is about going to parties and drinking and having a fun time. Whereas with this, it's about real life experiences, learning from those experiences, and trying to improve your life, which I think is a much better way to go about positivity.
Yes, that's the since the time I formed the Secret Sphere, at the very beginning we were talking about something coming from our minds, in talking about stories, about everything was provided by invented story, that was not real. But since the third album, we decided to talk about what happened in everyday life, keeping example from our own life, because I think that when people, I am talking about a very huge audience, not only the metal community. Because in my opinion, when I compose music, I always think to the entire people that can listen to our music, and I strongly believe that it's very important to talk about something that can be really lived by every person in every day. That's the most easy way for me to reach the heart of the people. When you talk about something that can really happen to all of us, that can be something that can reach really the heart of the people, and they can be really related to the songs of the artist. That's my opinion. I love when artists talks about everyday life. I always love that.
Oh, I do as well. It's one thing to be able to explore fantasy, but it's another thing to discover music that you enjoy, but also talks about real life, and you can have that much more of a connection to it.
Sorry, because there were some noise and I lost the question.
Oh, I was just agreeing that it's sometimes fun to enjoy the more fantasy in lyrics, but it's also more fun when you enjoy the music that's being played and you can relate to the lyrics that are being told as well.
Yes, it's more. You can enjoy more the music in the second option that you described. I think that can be really more. I can reach more people at least, because if you talk about historical part or something like that, or fantasy or mythology or I don't know, legendary tales, stuff like that, I think that of course that there will be always audience, but there will be only for the fans of the historical part. I think it's a very it's not the real audience that music can reach. Of course, this depends on the artist, but that's not my point of view.
To switch things up a little bit, since the album focuses more on positivity, how did you approach it musically as far as your guitar writing and songwriting?
Well, about the songwriting, that's very easy to tell you. The Nature of Time it's a concept album, and it's based on a true story that happened for real. And so the approach to the songwriting and to the music was at the beginning just to describe some particular moment of the real story behind the concept. Since the story that we used to write the concept of the album, it's something that happened to one of us inside the band. It's something that we know perfectly. We know the emotions that we felt. We know the feelings that we felt. We know everything about the story. And so the music was really for real something to express the heat of that moment. That's the concept behind the musical approach. Concerning the lyrics, I talked with Michele, with our singer, about what happened, and we decided together that was really something important to develop a concept on. So we worked the concept together, and he wrote completely the lyrics. And because the message behind was really something to be that deserved to be described. The concept. It talks about the back to life concept, but in a very positive way, as we say till now.
And with that, a few songs have been released from the album so far to be able to promote the album. What has the fan reaction been to the song so far?
Well, when we released The Calling, the first single, actually the old fans were a little bit wondering if the whole album, the whole musical direction of the album was more close to that kind of mid-tempo, a little bit AOR, a little bit hard rock with orchestration. So they were a little bit wondering how was the real direction of the music of the album. But the reaction, I think, that has been really positive, because the new video got something like 50,000 views in less than a month. So I think that the reaction is very good, and we receive lots of messages. When we released the second song, which is Fade, that was something more interesting for the fans, because that song is really a mixture of many influences. It's a sort of progressive metal music with a little bit of hard rock riff, a lot of choice, and a huge melody. Finally, when we released the third single, Courage, which is a typical power metal song, even the very old fans was really happy, because that song is the more close to our roots. But since now, what I see is the reaction that I am receiving about the new album is really encouraging, because everyone is talking about a great album, something true, something composed with the heart, and something really personal as a sound. So I think that we accomplished the idea that we had since the beginning when we start to compose the new album.
Well, I'm glad to hear that from a fan aspect, that others are embracing the album, because when I've been fortunate enough to be able to hear the entire album and being able to enjoy it and exploring everything that you got going on with the album, and there is so much diversity that's going on with the album. I mean, you got the classic sound from Secret Sphere, you explore many other directions in the band, and I think it's just a great listen from start to finish, just from a music standpoint, let alone when you discover the concept of the whole album.
I think that was following the personal issues that happened inside the band, the things that happened and that brought us to propose the music. We were really I think in a state of grace composing the music, very inspired, and I think that the strongest point of the new release, it's really the variation of the music, because I think that there are really a huge mixture of influences. The songs, they doesn't sound very they don't seem to be to follow a specific way. They are not all power metal. They are not all progressive. They are not all hard rock. There are really many things inside, and that's because we were really inspired. And I must say that the concept helped a lot with this, because there were some part of the concept that need more metal approach. Other songs that needed a more progressive approach. The ballads, there are 3 ballads, and the 3 ballads, I think that they are different kind of ballads. Kindness, it's more popish, if you want to say like that. Love, it's typical. It's a typical AOR song, and the latest one, The New Beginning, it's really a progressive ballad in my opinion. So it's a mixture of style, and I must must say that we have been really, really inspired writing the music, and I really enjoy the process, the writing process of the album. I really enjoy it.
So what's next for the band?
The next, I think that we'll be concentrated playing live. We have some summer festival here in Italy. I think that we will come back in Japan at the beginning of 2018, and we are discussing the opportunity to have some European tour. I would like to have a European tour supporting some of my inspiration, like Meridian, for example, that I love. And I think that we have some common points in this new album. But of course, we will have also some headlining show here in Europe. Actually, I really hope to come back in USA one day. It's something like 15 years that we don't play. We only had one time the chance to play at Rock Power USA, and it's really amazing. It's one of the best festivals in the world, and I hope to come back soon to play also in USA. I think there is a project also that we are discussing, that it's the opportunity to make an EP only with acoustic songs, with 2 or 3 acoustic songs, but we will see.
Oh, it's great to see that plans for the band are continuing to be as strong as they are, because the album is that good to be able to do some proper promotion behind, and it's great to see that touring plans and other plans are coming up to be able to really showcase this album in a great way.
Yes. It's 20 years that we are in the music, in music, and but we lost. We didn't lost the love to make plans to grow up with the band. So I hope that this new album will bring us more opportunities to come.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thank you so very much for taking the time to talk to me about the brand new album from Secret Sphere, which is coming out next Friday through Frontiers Music. I highly recommend it to anyone that's listening to this right now, as it is just a great, positive, progressive power metal album that I really think deserves any and all the promotion that it is getting. I mean, I've seen great reviews of the album so far, and I hope that continues to happen, because you guys deserve all the praise that you get.
Thank you very much for your time, and a real pleasure for me to talk with you and to introduce the new album of Secret Sphere. Thank you very much.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to mention that I forgot to mention yet?
There will be an upcoming video clip coming at the beginning of June that we just finished to shoot, and it's for Kindness, and there will be a sort of very interesting video clip talking about the developing of the story. So stay tuned on our Facebook page, following our news every day, and we will post the new video clip of the band pretty soon.